If you work with data, you need to know how to forecast. It's the skill that turns past data into future insights so you can predict needs, set smarter budgets, and make better decisions. Hi everyone, Isi here, and in today's video, I'll show you how to build a reliable forecast in Power BI. We'll be using energy demand data as our example. Let's get started. Let's get our data into Power BI. So it's an Excel workbook. I'll just load that, and this is it right here. The date is between January 2022 till December 2024, and it's just energy demand data in megawatt hour. This data is simulated for the purpose of this video, and it will be attached in the description of the video. So we need to create a date table, new table here. This is important for time-based analysis in Power BI. I've created a video on date tables in Power BI, so you can always check it out if you want a deep dive on it. It's just columns for the date table, and I'll click on enter. So I'll go to the model view here. I'll mark this as the date table. And then I'll create a relationship. I'll also link the video for that and save. Okay, now let's go to the forecasting bit. I'll go to report view. We'll be using a line chart for this. Okay, so let's just expand that. In the x-axis, we will bring the date column, drag that down. And for the y-axis, we'll use the energy demand. This is what we have. I'm just going to make the line smoother. Click on this and I'll just go to format here and lines, and I'll just change that to smooth. Okay, I'll also turn on the markers as well. So we have our past data from January 2022 up till December 2024. We have the dips and the peaks. It goes up and down with the season. This is the data from January 2022 till December 2024. Now we want to add the forecast to it, and to do that, you need to make sure that your line chart is selected, and you will just click on this paintbrush here. You can see the different things you can add to your visual, and what we want is the forecast. So I'll just select that, and immediately Power BI adds a forecast from January 2025 till October 2025. So we need to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. So we want to give it a few hints. Now we need to adjust the forecast format. On the format pane here, we'll just scroll down to forecast. Let's adjust the settings in the forecast to make it more useful. Currently, we have months, so I'll change the units to months instead of points. And depending on your own data, it could be days, it could be years. So just make sure that you adjust it to your own data. And right now, it's forecasting between January 2025 till October 2025. But I'll change that to 12 months because we already have 12 months from 2022. So I'll change that to 12. I'll come back to this to ignore the last. And then for the seasonality, we have a 12-month trend. So I'll use 12 months, 12 again. This last one is the confidence interval, and that's at 95%. The confidence interval is this shaded area. It's based on the past data that we have, and it's basically saying 95% confident that the real number will land somewhere in this shaded area. So it's either it lands in between the upper bound to the forecast here, which is the mean estimate, and then either from the forecast here till the lower bound. So anywhere in between, that's what the 95% interval basically means. I'll go ahead to apply that now. This is basically what we have, right? It's showing us from January till December 2025. The forecast is now way more tailored to the data that we have, but there is another important step that you need to carry out, which is checking your work. So we want to check that we can trust this forecast, right? We want to test it against the data that we already have. Remember, we have data from January 2022 till December 2024. So we want to check if this is good enough. So we'll go back to the format here, forecast under format. And this one that says ignore the last, change it to 6. What this is doing is telling Power BI to pretend that it doesn't know the last 6 months of data and try to guess them. So I'll just change that to 6, and then I'll click on apply. Let me change this color to orange so that it's a bit clearer to see. And then I'll change the line style to dash maybe. Okay, great. Now let's analyze this. So our data already gave us for July, and the forecast is very similar. It's just like 1 megawatt hour different. And it's the same thing for August. It's forecasting the same exact thing, 50505050. The same thing happens for September, similar as well, and the same thing happens for October. But then you see that the forecast was expecting that demand would go up, but in reality, it actually dropped. And this is not a failure of the forecast in itself. It's giving you an insight. It's letting you know that something unexpected has happened. So you have to investigate. In this situation, because it's like energy data, you might want to think about the internal business changes that happened, or the external events, maybe like there was unusually mild weather that can have an effect, or maybe a plant shuts down. And then the third thing to check would be your data quality. You need to make sure that there isn't any error in the last 2 months. So by checking these areas, you'd be able to investigate why the data has dropped or why the demand has dropped. And in your case, depending on the data you're using, you'd be able to determine and investigate what the real story is behind this problem. And that's how you really provide value as an analyst. So that's the complete process. You can now build a forecast and fine tune it. Most importantly, you need to investigate the results that you've gotten based on your forecast. Lastly, you can also export the data. Maybe you want to see the numbers clearly. This three dot here that says more options, you just need to click on that and export data. I'm just going to change the name to energy demand forecast, and then I'll save it. So I'll open this up here. Here's what we have, and it just shows you the value it was forecasting, the confidence high bound, and the confidence low bound. And that's basically it. If you found this helpful, kindly like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.